So CODEMASTERS have had this amazing 20-year history collaborating with AMD, right the way back from the Colin McRae Rally 2 days and all the way through the Dirt series. What we love about working with AMD is it is about the collaboration. They come to us with their great technology, but they work with us as to how we can leverage that, both from a visual fidelity perspective, but also it supporting great gameplay.
Dirt 5's a bright, colourful, bold, off-road racing experience where you'll get to take in a variety of different locations and race in a variety of different cars, from classic rally cars all the way through to extreme off-road vehicles.
So Dirt 5's really leading the charge on next generation platforms. One of the great things about making off-road games is there's an opportunity for a real visual spectacle. Mud, weather, all the drama of the outdoors, and that's something which we can really tap into using AMD's new technology.
Dirt 5 runs on the RDNA 2 technology that powers the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X. We're really excited that that technology is now coming to PC.
It means all of that fantastic visual fidelity can also be brought out for our PC gamers. Ray tracing comes to the fore for the first time ever, and that's a real big step up for us, again, in terms of that visual fidelity.
So when we come to developing on it, it means our resources aren't stretched super thin doing 3 different things. Instead, they're working on one thing, and it means that you get the highest graphical fidelity and the best frame rates possible across all 3 platforms.
We've been working with AMD to bring DXR ray trace shadows to Dirt 5. It adds very little cost performance, and it allows us to have higher quality shadows and have very detailed contrast shadows, which is usually not achievable with classic shadow mapping techniques. We implemented ray trace soft shadows. We shoot 1 ray towards the sun per pixel, and that requires a denoising solution, and we used AMD Shadow Denoiser to achieve that.
On Dirt 5, we have a huge variety of events and many different weather effects which can influence how you're playing those events, making sure that we're getting the right sort of kick up from the different surfaces that we're driving on, and the handling being affected by those. You can be driving on ice, you can be going around a corner and all of a sudden the dust, it's been raining and it's turning to mud, and it really affects how you're approaching each corner, even on the same track. That's the kind of thing we're really trying to make the player experience this time around over the previous stuff we've been working on, is that connection with the track and the different types of conditions you're encountering.
We also use a Fidelity Effects single-pass downsampler, which is a compute-based solution optimized for RDNA2 to downsample render targets. We use that for our light probes and for our post-processing pipeline. In order to achieve the desired graphical effects, to really sell that sense of being in a lightning storm, or following a vehicle that's kicking up loads of dust, we need to make sure that we've got the ability to render these kind of scenes without losing performance. So we've been developing techniques where we would traditionally use particle effects to create large dust clouds, for example. We'll be using volumetric rendering instead, which has more of a fixed cost, so you can get lots of vehicles kicking up loads of dust clouds behind them. We have been developing our lighting solutions such that we've got global illumination now, so we get bounce light off a scene using some voxel cone tracing on compute. This really enhances the sense of being in an environment where you've got lights and it's foggy and it's bouncing those lights around, and it really feels like you're in a lit environment. It's really important to have things like the GI doing the bounce lighting, but also doing the larger scale ambient occlusion, but also tied with AMD's Fidelity Effects ambient occlusion as well, which gives us that mid-range, mid-scale occlusion effects, which really sits things in the scene and makes it feel that much more believable. We're using VRS Tier 2 to use a compute shader to generate a control texture which analyzes the luminance and gives us control at an 8x8 tile level as to what shader rate we're going to be using. This enables us to render much more quickly but keep the same quality level in terms of image quality. We've been working with AMD to implement Fidelity Effects ambient occlusion, which greatly improves the quality of our shadows and ambient lighting, and it's optimized for RDNA2. It uses adaptive sampling so that we can focus the quality where it's really needed.
In order to get the maximum image quality, we use temporal anti-aliasing, which is a technique that uses the history of previous frames to enhance the quality of the image. When you crank it up to ultra settings, you've obviously got a good graphics card and you're looking to get the best image quality that we can deliver. That means high resolution, obviously, so 4K, but we're also increasing many other things that are hidden behind the scenes, some of which you'll be able to change in the view quality settings, in fact, if you want to play about with them. But as well as the anti-aliasing or the quality of the sampling of the textures, there are loads of other little things that we tweak, such as the tessellation and parallax mapping on the tracks, to get really high detail surface undulation. We're really heavily utilising tessellation and parallax mapping. But it's completely under your control if you want to have a play about with them and try and tune the game to, the features that are important to you to see versus the trade-off with, how, the optimization level of the game is at and how many frames per second you're getting, for example.
Please stay tuned for lots more game updates coming for Dirt 5. And if you want to play Dirt 5 on the highest settings with the best visual quality, then you should be playing on the Radeon RX 6000 series.